Hi everyone and welcome to Live Penguin TV. My name is Jordan. I'm a ranger here at Phillip Island Nature Parks' Penguin Parade, and I'm going to be your commentator as we watch the penguins march their way across the beach back to their homes here on Phillip Island in Victoria, Australia. This evening we are also joined by Michael, who is going to be answering all of your wonderful questions tonight. So hi Michael.
How you going, Jordan? Hello, everyone.
So this is Michael's very first night here, and he's very excited to answer all the questions that you guys will be posting on the on Facebook, the comments thread. So at any point throughout the evening, if you have a burning question that you would like to ask us, please chuck it in the comments thread, and we'll do our best to get back to you during the live stream. We've been overwhelmed by the amount of people who have actually been commenting and asking all these wonderful questions throughout the stream. So we might not be able to get to you, but rest assured we have a wonderful team of Penguin Rangers who will get back to you and answer those questions and comment as Phillip Island Nature Parks really shortly. So please post them, and if we don't get to them tonight, don't worry, we will get to them very soon. So if this is your first time to Live Penguin TV, big warm welcome. If you're a long time tuner-innerer, very excited to have you back. Thanks so much for tuning back in. So what we're seeing this evening is the smallest species of penguin making their way from the ocean, where they've been out swimming, diving, looking for food, evading predators. And when the sun sets, the penguins know that the scary birds of prey that would love to eat a penguin have actually gone to bed for the night, which means they can cross the open sandy beach, which we can see just in front of us here. So they know that at sunset they're safe to cross the beach and not get swooped down on by any swamp harriers, Pacific gulls, sea eagles and things like that. So they're very clever little penguins. Now, here on Phillip Island, a lot of you will know that the Penguin Parade is in Phillip Island in Victoria, Australia. So we're in southeastern Australia here at the Penguin Parade. But Phillip Island is actually known by another name, and that's Malau. Malau is the name given by the Bunurong people to Phillip Island, and they are the traditional custodians of the land here on the island. So I would like to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge the Bunurong people as the traditional custodians of the land, and thank and acknowledge the way that they've cared for country over so many thousands of years, so that we have these beautiful penguins to waddle home very safely to this wonderful land here on Phillip Island. So let us know where you're joining in from tonight. We've had a really great response of people telling us what country and who the traditional custodians of the land are here on Phillip Island. So let us know what country you're from, let us know where you're joining in, and we can educate people about exactly the traditional custodians of the land. Now, I've just been told by Michael that some little penguins have actually started to appear on the water's edge. So I'm just going to pan around at the moment. Where are our penguins tonight, Michael? Do we know where they've... Oh, I think I may have just spotted them. They are just here at Penguins Plus. So let me zoom in on this cute little group. Hi, everyone. Whoop. So these are the first penguins of the night, folks, and it's a nice big group to start off with. Hello, everyone. So every single night here on Phillip Island at the Penguin Parade, we're actually counting penguins. And it's a job that we've been doing nearly every single night since 1968, and it's part of a long-term monitoring program to see how well the penguins are doing and how healthy the population is. So it's a really important bit of research, and that is actually something Michael, who is answering your questions tonight, who will be throwing them over to me, his job is actually to count penguins. And you might have joined in last night as well with Heather, and her job is also to count these little guys. At the moment, look, they're nice and tight. They're close together. It's still a little bit light here on Phillip Island. So these penguins are very brave and eager to get home. The darker it is, the safer it is for these penguins, because they know that there's not going to be any predatory birds that are going to try and swoop down on them. But it looks like these ones, all of a sudden, they're going to slowly start inching forward and making their way across the beach. How exciting. It's a nice early arrival for these penguins. We don't have to wait for them. This is a natural wildlife event, which means we don't train the penguins. They train us. They're actually, some of them, one's running back. Where are you going? I think the rest of them going to follow? Look, off they go. Oh, look at these scaredy cats. So one of them has probably seen something or think it's seen something, and they're going to race back into the water. So these are the smallest species of penguins in the world, and they're the only ones with blue feathers. That helps them camouflage in the water, so if there's any birds flying above, it's very difficult for them to be seen. So if they're scared, their automatic instinct is to run back into the water, which is exactly what we just saw now. They're going to regroup, catch their breath, have a bit of a chat, and make sure that they're ready to go, and then they'll start making their way across the beach. Now, although there is quite a few penguins, you can see if you can start counting how many of them there are. We only start counting these penguins once they get to the halfway point on the beach. So because they ran back, we haven't actually started counting these penguins yet. But once they do, that's when our 50 minutes of count time begins here on Phillip Island. Now, as it is a small group, I've got a little bit of a theory. And I wonder if these penguins can actually hear some other penguins out in the water. Oh, here they go, running back again. And they'll be listening out for a sound called a huck, which sounds like huck, 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 huck. And that's the penguins forming groups out in the water called a raft, an R-A-F-T, because they float on the surface of the water just like a raft. So they might be listening out for those sounds and trying to make sure that they can cross with a bigger group because there's safety in numbers. They want to make sure that they've got lots of friends so they feel nice, happy, confident and safe as they cross the beach. So I might just zoom out a little bit because these penguins are looking a little nervous. I wonder if there's any more penguins kind of at the water's edge at the moment. So I'm just going to scroll to the right and see if we can see anything. We're also going to keep an eye out tonight, folks, to see if we can see any of those rafts, any of those groups of penguins out in the water starting to cross the beach. What are you guys looking at? Hello. Look at all these penguins. So this is what I was talking about before, everyone. These penguins, that smaller group on the right, they've joined up with a nice big group, and I do not envy the penguin counter this evening. That is a nice big group of penguins, and they have to be as accurate as possible, which helps us in our long-term research. So have a bit of a go. I reckon now that there's lots of them there, they're going to feel a bit more confident. So hopefully we'll see them cross the beach and they'll be able to get a little bit closer. So just a little bit about us here on Phillip Island. Phillip Island Penguin Parade is run by Phillip Island Nature Parks, which is a self-funded non-for-profit organisation, which means we get most of our money through tourism. So things like people coming to see the penguins, coming to see the Koala Conservation Reserve, Churchill Island Heritage Farm and the Nobby's Antarctic Journey. Buying tickets, souvenirs, tours and things like that helps us with our conservation education and research projects and programs to help keep these little guys and their penguin neighbours safe. But while we have restrictions, we can't have anyone joining us here in the flesh here on Phillip Island. But if you would like to help us protect these little penguins and all of the natural wildlife we have on Phillip Island, you can donate to the Penguin Foundation, and the link is just below in the description. You can make a donation or even adopt a penguin. So next time that you come to Phillip Island or you watch this live stream, you can keep an eye out for that penguin that you've symbolically adopted. And I must say, it is a symbolic adoption. Although these little penguins are very, very cute, I will definitely not deny that. They do not make good pets. They're smelly, they're loud, as they should be. They like being in the wild, and that's where we like to leave them. So we just get to watch them without interference here tonight. But if you do want to have a penguin to call your own, you can adopt a penguin through the Penguin Foundation. And here we go. I reckon they've nearly made it all the way across the beach. Look, there's a few kind of running backwards, but most of them are charging forward. They're on the home stretch. This is what we call their dangerous dash. It looks like I'm not sure if you saw, there was a very waddly looking penguin just on the side. They've all got their own little individual unique walking styles and personalities, which we'll get to see up nice, close and personal in the top right-hand camera, which is on our Penguin Highway. Now, stop hiding behind the bushes. We want to see your beautiful little faces. We've stopped, we've crossed the beach, so we've got a fairly low tide tonight, everyone, which means that the penguins have quite a long stretch of beach to cross before they make their way home. If you tuned in around about this time last week, oh, here we go. We've got our penguins hopping over the rocks. Good work, everyone. We actually had a high tide at around sunset. Here's the first group of penguins. Good work. Which means they can pretty much surf the waves straight into the rocks, like cool little surfer dudes, and they don't have a long stretch of beach to cross, so it's actually a relatively safe and relatively less stressful process for them compared to tonight when there's a beautiful low tide. But that means we get to see them for a lot longer crossing the beach and a lot more clearly as well. We can see now here that there's quite a few penguins that have decided to stop on the rocks, catch their breath. Their hearts are probably racing at 100 miles an hour. They want to catch their breath, and when they come on land, this is their chance to socialize. That said, looks like a few more penguins that are leading the way. They are powering on through. They are not wasting any time. They've got things to do. They've got places to be. So let's see if we can follow a few of these penguins on their journey home, and we'll see what they get up to on the way. Also, for those of you who might have joined us last week, you would have noticed there was a beautiful big puddle outside where these penguins are standing right now, because we had a lot of rain, which is fantastic for the vegetation here on Phillip Island. But it's been a little bit drier over the last couple of days, so it's dried up. So instead of swimming part of the way home, whoop, where have these guys gone? They're too quick for me. They actually have to waddle most of the way home. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So I want to see. Looks like these penguins are going to start heading up the hill. So there's two kind of splits in the path here. Some are going up the hill, and I reckon in a moment I'm going to expand this full screen in the top right hand corner, and we'll see some penguins racing around the corner. Now this is a great view of our penguins just down here, because we get to see them right at eye level. And this is what we call the Penguin Highway. The Penguin Highway is the most popular route for penguins to make their way home, because just like you and I, penguins have their own address and they're always taking the same route home whenever they make their way onto land. And they know the exits, little residential streets and the driveways off from the highway. They know exactly where home is, so they don't often get lost. Sometimes they might get a little bit sidetracked and visit a sneaky boyfriend or girlfriend on the way, which takes them a little off path. But as a whole, they will always be making their way home to the same burrow. Alrighty, they go pretty quick, don't they? Let's have a little bit of a look and see what's going on just out the front of this Penguins Plus stand right here. All right, let's get nice, close and personal with just this penguin. A few of them actually, they've been preening their feathers. It looks like we've got another wave of penguins coming up the Penguin Highway, which we can see just off to the right. But I'm just going to focus on these penguins just over here, straight in front of us, and see what they get up to. They're preening themselves, they're getting any ticks or fleas that might be on them, making sure their feathers are nice and flat. They're not all ruffled, which can be very, very uncomfortable for penguins. And whenever they come on land, it's really important that penguins waterproof their feathers. They've got a little oil gland at the base of their tail. Oh, look at that one preening himself, cleaning his beak on his little flippers. Look at you standing up nice and tall, doing some beautiful preening behavior. Such good penguins. They're going to look so good for their partners when they get back home. How are we going with the questions, Mike? Are we getting many comments?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions at the moment. We have one good question from Alice and Angela. How do the little penguins tell each other apart?
That is a really, really great question. How do the penguins tell each other apart? So if we look at these penguins just here, you might think that they all look the same. And that's a fair assumption, because even I think that after being working here for 2 years. But penguins are really, really good at identifying little individual differences. So to us, we might actually look, Michael and I, we might look quite similar to the penguins, but we obviously know that we look quite different. So they're able to pick up on the little differences which make them all unique. But penguins also have a very, very good hearing. So they know who their chicks are, they know who their partners are based on their call. So a really, really great question for that. Thank you so much. Now I've just spotted something a little bit interesting in the top right-hand screen. So I'm just going to zoom in. Now, so this penguin looks like it's facing the other way. What are you doing there? Now, if it's going to do what I think it's going to do, I'll tell you a little bit about it. So normally, oh no, we're turning around. Must have just been admiring its reflection in the window there off to the left. And you know what? I don't blame you. You are a beautiful looking penguin. You look absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure you'll make your partner very, very happy. And now I'll go back to this other vision and see. Oh, we're joined by a few more penguins. Hi, everyone. There must have been a second group starting to cross the beach. Oh, look at them all. They are on a mission. Look at them all on the rocks. Wow, that's awesome. I do not envy our penguin counters tonight. They will be out there with their binoculars going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100 penguins. So send us in how many penguins you think are crossing the beach at one time. We would love to see how accurate you are. And if you're really, really good at penguin counting, you might even be able to get a job here at the Penguin Parade as a penguin counter. So you can actually do that as a job or as a career, which is pretty cool. Alrighty, let's have a look and see what these guys are doing just now. So again, a lot of them are heading on through, but most of them that we can see are just happy taking a rest on these rocks. So before I mentioned that penguins actually feel very, very safe when they're out in the water, it's when they come on land that they're a little bit more nervous and they're subject to predation. They're a little bit more vulnerable. But on the dark basaltic rocks, which once came from volcanic lava, their dark feathers actually blend in quite well with them. So once they reach these dark rocks, they feel pretty safe. Even though we can see their beautiful white bellies, they know that they're more camouflaged compared to on the open sand. So that's why they're quite happy hanging around on here just now. Now, I've got a little bit of exciting news, everyone. Normally what happens in the middle of winter, I guess we're actually in spring now, but in winter, early spring, that's usually one of the quieter times for the penguins here at the Penguin Parade on Phillip Island. But these penguins have actually been coming home more regularly. They can spend anywhere from 1 day up to about 4 or 5 weeks out in the ocean at a time. Sleeping, resting, keeping warm out there, no issue whatsoever. They only come home if they've got things to do, places to be. And folks, it looks like we actually have an early start to the breeding season here on Phillip Island. So quite a few of these penguins that we're seeing just on the screen and who have started making their way home, we can see them up in the top right-hand corner, might be going home to sit on their 2 little penguin eggs that their partner has been sitting on, keeping warm and looking after while the partner has been out to sea. So normally penguins start mating and breeding in late September, early October, but the conditions have been really good. There's been plenty of food around and we've had a relatively mild winter, which is really great conditions for penguins to breed. So during the day today, I was actually lucky enough to be in one of our penguin study sites. So I've been helping out with the penguin research team here on Phillip Island at the Penguin Parade, and quite a few, most of the burrows in fact, in this study site that we monitor every week have quite a few eggs. And today we had 2 of those eggs hatch with beautiful little dark brown chickies. So they are so, so cute and so beautiful. And the size of a penguin egg is roughly the size of a small chicken egg. So you can imagine when the chick hatches, they're very, very tiny as well. Now, we're not going to be seeing any chicks tonight because when they are very, very young, it's really important that they stay inside their burrow because they've got to stay nice and warm and safe and away from any predators that might want to eat them. So mum and dad do a really, really good job at guarding them for about the first 2 weeks of their life, and they will take it in turns, both mum and dad, going out to sea, finding things like fish, so pilchards, anchovies, squid, jellyfish, anything about this big that can fit hole in the size of their beak, and they will come home and go bleh, straight into their little chickie's mouth. The chicks absolutely love it. It doesn't sound very appealing to us, but that helps them get nice and strong, and they're fully grown, ready to head out into the ocean after about 8 to 10 weeks. So it's a pretty short process, but because mum and dad bring such lovely protein and fat-rich food home for them, the chicks grow very, very quickly. Let's have a little bit of a look and see if we can see what's going on. We'll see if we can follow some penguins. We might even be lucky enough to see them heading back to a burrow. But look at these guys on the rocks. They are just happy preening themselves, having a good old time. Any more great questions, Michael?
Yes, we have one from Jamie. Do penguins congregate in the morning before they go out like they do when they are coming home?
Oh, very good question. Thanks, Jamie. So we can see that the penguins, when they're making their way in at night, they want to have as many friends coming home with them as possible, because there is safety in numbers. Now, that's kind of similar in the morning. Usually I'm fast asleep, and all the rangers who work here at the nature parks are fast asleep at that time. But they kind of trickle out a little bit more in the morning, so not quite as congregated as those really, really big groups that we get to see come in at night. They trickle out over a couple of hours, but at similar light levels right now. If you jump outside, if you're in Melbourne, and see what the light levels are like, similar light levels now, but in the morning. So that's roughly 1 to 2 hours before the sun comes up. But yeah, it's not quite as systematic and organised as when they come in at night. They can kind of head out into the ocean whenever they like. Thanks for your question, Jamie. Did you see that one just jump off that big kind of clump of sand? Oh, that one fell over as well. They look pretty clumsy, but they're really tough, these little penguins. So a little fall like that doesn't really mean much to them, but it gives us a bit of a laugh. Look at them all hanging out. They are so comfortable now that they're on land. They're having a great old time. Again, making sure they're looking beautiful and their feathers are all in alignment so that they're feeling comfortable and very good looking for when they return home to their breeding partner. Look at that one getting a good scratch. Let's zoom in and see what's going on. So that one, can you see it wiggling its, let's just focus. You see it wiggling its little tail feathers? So penguins actually have an oil gland at the base of their tail, which they stimulate with their beak, and then they cover the oil with their beak and they run it through all their feathers, which gives them a nice waterproof coating, so that when they head out into the ocean, they stay nice and warm. Awesome. Look at that little tail feather wagging. And look, we've got tons more penguins up in the top right-hand screen as well. We are having penguins galore here tonight. So one of the reasons that we're lucky enough to have the largest colony of little penguins in the world here on Phillip Island is through people bringing money into our organisation so that we can help protect penguins, keep them safe, remove rubbish from the beach, and also remove foxes from Phillip Island. So if you would like to help support us, protect penguins and the wonderful wildlife that we have here on Phillip Island, remember you can donate to the Penguin Foundation. The link is below. You can adopt a penguin or make a donation. So thank you so much for everyone who's donated in the past. We've been blown away by your generosity. So thank you very, very much, everyone. Now, I want to focus on these three penguins here. The one that's just walking off to the left, you might have noticed it looked a little bit slimmer than the one on the right. I'm going to stay with these two who are busy preening themselves. So usually the longer penguins have been out in the ocean, the fatter they are. Now, I'm not body shaming them here. It's actually a good thing in the penguin world to be nice and chunky, to have lots of meat on you, because that means you're really good at what you do. You're good at finding food. You're going to be a good provider for your chicks and be a really, really good father or mother to your breeding partner as well. So when you see nice, fat, chunky penguins, you want to go, yes, go guys. You are doing an amazing job, because they're really, really good, and that looks like they'll be very good providers for their family as well. I'm going to switch to the penguin highway just over here, and we'll get to see some of these little guys come around the corner. Come back off to the right so we can see you. Yep, that's the way. Penguins are listening to me. Very good. It looks like we might have some more. No, you know what? As soon as I switch back to this other camera, I bet they're going to make their way home. In fact, I think I can just see them now. That's all right. Again, these are wild animals and they always surprise us. Let's have a look now and see what's going on and see if we can see any groups starting to cross the beach. So penguins, they cross the beach anytime from between 1 hour. In fact, can I see some on the rocks? It can take them up to 3 hours for all of them to make their way across the beach. Looks like we've got another nice group starting to cross the beach. And you know what? I did tell you that would happen, didn't I? They would come down the Penguin Highway in that top right-hand screen as soon as I switched the cameras. Cheeky little penguins, they're making me work for it. Alrighty, so most of them tend to come up in the first 30, 40, 50 minutes, and the numbers tend to drop off soon after that. And after 50 minutes, 50, that's when we stop counting the penguins here on Phillip Island. That's when we'll turn off all the lights, and if we did have people joining us here at the Penguin Parade, we're just going to focus. At the 50-minute mark in the count, that's when we slowly start moving people up the boardwalk, turning the lights off for the penguins at about the same time every single night, so that the penguins know that that's normal for people to be here, for the lights to be on, and any penguins who decide to make their way home after it's dark can do so without any lights and without any people being here too. Hi everyone, got a nice group. I wonder if we're going to see a bit of a domino effect from the group that's just crossed the beach as they collide into the first group. Well, it's probably not the first group anymore, but these penguins that are hanging around on the rocks just now. One thing that I think is really cool about penguins, now this is going to seem a little off topic and I'm going to explain myself in just a second. A cool thing about penguins is penguin poo. These penguins poo at one of the highest velocities of any animal in the world. So for those of you watching at home, do keep an eye out. If you can see any penguins pooing, you would have just witnessed a Guinness World Record. So they do that so that if they're in their burrows during the day, they can just face their bottoms towards the entrance of their burrows and go poof. They can release their poo. It's a bit of a projectile stream out so it doesn't muck up their burrows. And the reason I want to talk about poo at the moment is because I spent most of today actually collecting penguin poo. It's not a very glamorous task, but why we collect penguin poo is that helps us tell us what they've been eating. We collect poo at various different stages during the breeding season. At the pre-breeding, which is just before they're kind of paired up in their burrows. We've seen the same penguins in the same burrow for a few days in a row, so we think that they might start breeding. And we also do it when they're sitting on eggs and after the chicks have hatched as well. So penguin poo is great, and it's so exciting when you get a very, very good sample. We want to make sure it's great, and if you shake the vial, you can actually see all the sparkles of the fish scales in the solution as well, so it's really, really cool. And it's a lot harder than you'd think to try and find a good sample of penguin poo. Now, it looks like there's one penguin in the top right-hand corner of the Penguin Highway, looking a little bit lost. Folks, I hope you've had a really great time watching tonight. I just want to let you know we've got just under 5 more minutes left of screen time this evening. So if you've got any questions, any further questions, make sure you post them on the comments thread. We'll do our best to get back to you on the air. But also remember, we are going to be having penguin rangers commenting and answering all your wonderful questions very, very shortly, hopefully within the next 24 hours. So if we don't answer your question tonight, please don't stress. We will get to it as soon as we can, but you can also join in and tune in the following nights because we are running this live stream every single night, which is super duper exciting. Look at this penguin just over here. Not a worry in the world. Are you going to acknowledge that penguin who's off to the left? Or are you just going to stand up there like the king of the castle? No. Oh, look at it stimulating its oil gland at the base of its tail and covering its beautiful feathers with that waterproof oil. I reckon we might have time for one more final question, Michael. Have we got any good ones? I'm sure they're all very, very good.
All right. So Daniel 8 has asked, do penguins drink water and do they hunt in groups when they're out at sea?
Ooh, a two-pronged question. Thank you so much for that. So penguins actually do drink water. And did you see that one jump? they actually drink seawater, and they've got a really cool little gland in their nose, and it's kind of acts as a desalination plant, so they can drink salt water, and then they actually excrete the kind of a salty sludge out of their nostrils. And you might have even seen throughout the night, folks, the penguins kind of going like this, flicking their heads, and that's them getting all the salty sludge out of their nostrils, so they can drink when they're out in the ocean. It'd be pretty cool if we can drink ocean water and have that kind of adaptation. Where's this penguin going up here? And out in the water, do penguins hunt in groups? So no, not usually. You might know that through different documentaries and things, some penguins actually do hunt in groups, but normally these guys are foraging alone. So thank you so much for the question. Keep them coming in. Now, I've just spotted something a little bit interesting with this penguin. Having a look just around. Have you guys noticed that every now and then it kind of stops and has a look at the rocks at the ground? And it's going the opposite way than most of the penguins. That penguin looks like it is something called a shell gritter, which means it's a female penguin, and she's actually got eggs inside her tummy. So when females are getting ready to lay their eggs, about 4 to 5 days before that, that's when the eggshell starts to form. So what penguins do is female penguins strip the calcium from their bones to make the eggshells nice and strong. So this female would have been in her burrow on land all day, so they can spend a few days on land as well. They don't go in and out of the ocean every single day. She would have been in her burrow, and now that it's dark, now that it's safe, she can head out of the burrow, probably walking, waddling, down the Penguin Highway, and she's heading down to the beach to look for little bits of seashells that she can nibble on to replace those calcium stores. So I guess if you think about it, it's kind of like a pregnant woman having cravings, if you want to think about it that way. So you go, girl, you'll probably be laying some eggs very, very shortly. So it's very exciting. Best of luck to you and your little family that you'll have very, very shortly. It looks like we might have another group, or maybe just one penguin. I think I got a little, oh no, there's a second one coming around the corner. Are you going to join up? Yeah, you never quite know what's going to happen. Alrighty, I'm going to zoom in on these penguins just hanging out on the rocks, because unfortunately it is time for Michael and I to start heading home and saying goodnight to all of you and the penguins this evening. Thank you so, so much for joining in. I hope you've had a wonderful time watching this penguin live stream. Remember, we are running this stream every single night, so you can tune in every night of the week and watch these cute little penguins making their way from the ocean back to land here on Phillip Island on Malau. And keep asking those questions. We absolutely love that you're tuning in, you're engaged, and you love all that we've got going on here. But yeah, remember that we might not be able to get to your question on the air. Keep tuning in, and very shortly we will make sure that we have a penguin ranger jumping on the Facebook feed, not on YouTube unfortunately, but on Facebook, answering those questions that all of you guys have. So thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can also donate to the Penguin Foundation. The link is just below in the description if you would like to help make sure these little penguins get home safely. So good night, everyone, from Michael and I. Hopefully, we'll see you again at this time tomorrow. Bye. Say bye, Michael.
Bye, Michael.
Bye, Michael. Love it. Bye.